Gene, you ready?
I think so. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Disney with the Ducks. Thanks for joining us today. You got me, Gene, and my friend Jeff,
Hey, everybody.
and my other friend Jody.
Hi, friends.
The rest of our crew, they were all unable to make it tonight, but we're going to go ahead and carry on without them. This is show number 131. We're going to talk about Jeff Shorts, Jeff's quick trip, day trips, plural, right? But before we get into that, first of all, I want to remind you, we live and die by the reviews. We need your 5-star reviews, Jeff is just like sitting by the keyboard, sitting by his computer waiting. I mean, he's always got his eyes on his phone, waiting on the next review to come through. So be nice. You don't want to hurt his feelings. But we do want to hear your feedback. We do want to hear what you like, what your suggestions, what we could do better. Any complaints, obviously send those directly to Lonnie. But to get us started tonight, as you know, we always do a little get to know you question. And so tonight, we were just chatting before the show about our favorite cartoons from when we were kids. And so I'd like to hear from you guys what your favorite cartoons growing up. What did you like after school, before school, Saturday mornings? When did you watch cartoons and what did you like? Jeff?
I was a child of the 80s. So I grew up watching Gummy Bears, Transformers, He-Man, G.I. Joe. Those were my kind of go-tos, but I had two older brothers as well who were 70s kids. So I watched a lot of the old Bugs Bunny and the Mickey shorts and the classic things like that too. Land of the Lost. It wasn't I don't think that was
It's not a cartoon.
No, but they had the Sleazax, but they were kind of animated-ish. The creepy characters there.
You know what's funny about that is that I just went on Amazon and all of those shows, Land of the Lost, all that Sid and Marty Krofft made that show and made a whole bunch of others. And I went through and I watched a snippet of all these shows I watched when I was really, really young in the 70s. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters and the Krofft Super Show and all these things that are all,
right.
in that
Land of the
same
Lost
vein.
wasn't animated, but it fell into the same
Right.
Saturday morning cartoon time frame. So it was always on. So
I'll allow it. Thanks, Jeff. What about you, Jody?
I was definitely Saturday morning cartoons. I remember coming home in the summertime, coming home from the pool. We would always come home at 4 o'clock from the pool and I'd watch Little House on the Prairie, which I know is not a cartoon, but like that's probably the most vivid memory I have of watching something. But probably Saturday mornings was a lot of Bugs Bunny, Roadrunner. I loved the Roadrunner. That was pretty good. I'm closer to Gene's age than I am Jeff's age. So Jeff, all those ones you were talking about, I didn't watch. So yeah, I don't. None of them never. I mean, maybe a little Scooby Doo, but I don't think I loved it. But it was just on, So
Jetsons, Flintstones.
oh yeah, they were good. They were on.
Jody, I have a question for you. You mentioned
sir.
Little House on the Prairie. I remember at school we had to read, that series of books and watch, I'm sure we watched the show. I remember bits and pieces. What was Laura's older sister's name?
Mary.
Mary went blind. That's not I wouldn't even, you can't class that, you can't categorize that with the cartoons. That's just, there's some dark stuff in there. That was hard living out in the plains,
It was.
All of those things you mentioned, I mean, John's not here, so I'm just going to go ahead. I mean, they're all I loved them all. I loved one that especially sticks out to me though is just Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner and the movies that were made like I don't know, it was like 1001 Arabian Nights
with
that
Daffy
was
Duck.
done with Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny, and I remember renting that on VHS, and my dad would watch that stuff either on Saturday mornings or when we rent those movies or watch them recorded from TV, and my dad would just laugh at me, and he's just a big kid with me, and I loved that.
Here's a funny memory I have of those TV shows and movies. My mom was in a bowling league, and we would go to the bowling alley, and there was like a kids club, and they had the
Mhm.
reels, the movie
Mhm.
reels,
Yeah.
and they would play like Tasmanian Devil and Bugs Bunny and all that stuff on the reels in the kids club at the bowling alley. That I absolutely do remember.
That's cool. I also liked after school Tom and Jerry every day, and
Right.
all the associated, Hanna-Barbera cartoons that came on with Tom and Jerry. Those are good. Flintstones, you mentioned Flintstones. I love Flintstones. Jetsons are okay, but the Flintstones for sure, for sure. Hey, thanks for sharing that. Hey guys, on your listeners on our group, we'd love to hear, what your favorite cartoons were and why. If you have any special memories, we
And I'm
love hearing
sure
that
by
kind of
your
stuff.
answers, we'll be able to guess how old you are because
Right, right,
which decade you're from, just based on which cartoons you liked.
right,
Correct.
right. Well, so today we're going to talk about Jeff's short trips, Jeff's shorts. And while, as you all know, what a Disney expert I personally am, I'm going to kind of turn it over to Jody though, because Jody, I mean, we're trying to get her to learn more about Disney, so let her maybe ask some of the questions of Jeff. Does that sound okay, Jody?
Sure, I've got the journalism degree. I might as well use it. Um, so we often joke as a group, like, oh my gosh, what would you do if you just had one day in Disney? Like, how would you tackle it? What would you do? If you fly in only one day. Well, Jeff had this not only once, not twice, but three times. He went on 3 1-day trips. So he was there July 6th and 7th, July 27th and 28th, and August 9th through 11th. So that maybe
And,
that's
and and so Jeff basically was like, y'all can talk about it, but I'm gonna be about it.
yeah. Yeah. So, Jeff, why don't you start with each one? Explain why you were crazy enough to go to this, um, how you arrived there. I mean, for one day, my assumption is that you flew, but I know for a fact that's not always the answer. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about these adventures and what they entailed? And then once you got there, what did you actually do once you hit property?
So this all starts back to Christmas of last year. We got the Frontier Go Wild Pass, which basically you pay a flat fee, and then about 24 hours in advance, they open up flights to fill seats. And once they open those up the day before, you pay the tax and you can fly for free. So that was kind of our plan is whenever we got that, and it's good for a year. It starts May 1st and goes through April 30th. Um, I am a horrible person as far as meticulously planning and laying down and figuring out what I'm doing. This is kind of something that we set up to do to be a little bit more spontaneous and just kind of be able to take off and just do something randomly. So it just kind of worked out this last month where we could take off and do several of these.
Mhm.
So the first one was my daughter was actually on vacation in Florida in Tampa with her boyfriend and his family. And it was July 4th or July 5th. We were sitting at my friend's house and we're talking about what are we going to do this weekend. And I said, I'm just going to see if there's any Go Wild passes free. So on July 5th, I looked and there was a flight down to Florida on Saturday at 11. So I was like, all right, we can do that. And we'll see if we can get a return flight on Sunday sometime. My daughter was still in Tampa at that point in time. She flew into Pittsburgh Airport around 11:30 p.m. on Friday night. Gets home about 1:30 a.m. and we left for Cleveland Airport at 8 a.m. to fly back to Florida the next morning to start our little adventure. So it
Wow.
was
Oh, wow.
I assume she just stayed there. I didn't know that she flew home and then.
no, because she was in Tampa and we had to get to Orlando and the overlap wouldn't have worked. So yep, she flew home, slept for a few hours. We got in the car and headed north and hit the airport and flew back out. So
All right. So what did the two of you do? What's a highlight of that trip, that July 6th, 7th trip? Where
none
did
of,
you
none of
stay?
these trips we used park tickets. We had no park tickets for any of this.
Okay.
As soon as I booked my flights, we went online to see if there's any rooms available. And we were fortunate that DVC was available for that one. We got a studio at Old Key West.
All right. So you got a studio at Old Key West.
We got a studio at Old Key West. We love it there. It's close to the springs. We figured that was a good place to set up base camp. And it was the only studio available. So it kind of worked out to.
I have never stayed there before, and I'm staying there for Wine and Dine this year.
We love it. I don't know. I'm at Old Key West, I think. I might be there. I don't know.
No.
We might be at Saratoga. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So we land. Our flight was delayed a little bit, which was a little frustrating whenever you have very limited time. So our flight was delayed a little bit. We landed. We went over to Springs. We got cookies and grabbed dinner at Wine Bar George. That's kind of one of our go-tos, and we just kind of wandered to Springs for a little bit. Took an Uber over to the Polynesian. We grabbed a drink or two and sat on the beach, watched Happily Ever After from the beach. It's nice. They pump into music. And then we went back caught an Uber back and caught the late drone show at Disney Springs. We didn't do it from the Springs. We did it from Saratoga. So everything was kind of backwards and they didn't pipe in the music. You could hear the music. It was a little faint, but the drones were backwards, but it was pretty neat to see. And you didn't have to fight any of the crowds. It was nice.
All right. So you flew in on a Saturday. You flight delayed, but you still managed to hit the Springs, have dinner at Wine Bar George, watch the fireworks at the Polynesian, and watch the drone show.
Correct.
Okay. So for your free flight down just to pay taxes, I'd say that's a pretty solid night.
And the room was points, so there's no cost there either.
Wow, Jeff, I don't remember you ever telling us about that, about the frontier wilding out on the frontier or whatever. That's amazing. What a great opportunity. Just, wow. That and if you had DVC,
right.
points, and dude, if you had an annual pass, I mean, you're taking money out of Mickey's mouth.
Oh, I give him plenty. There's no worry.
I know. I'm just joking.
Whenever we book these trips like this on the Go Wild, part of it was we decided we're doing memories over materials on it. Yeah. So we have a backpack is the only thing we can take when we go. So because we don't do any carry-ons for Frontier because they charge for everything there.
Right.
So if it doesn't fit in the backpack, it sits under the seat. It doesn't go with us. That's all we take, and we just take off and go. So
wow.
That's awesome. Okay, so then you wake up Sunday morning.
Sunday morning, we got our flight home. Was like 8 o'clock, I think, at night, 8:30.
Oh, so you had a whole day. Good.
We had the whole day. At Saratoga, we kind of we resort hopped. We went over to the Contemporary. We kind of wandered through. We didn't really do any meals or anything on Sunday. We just kind of wandered through the resorts a little bit. Walked around Crescent Lake for a little bit. Just kind of took it easy. We rode the Skyliner.
Just
right?
Crescent Lake, right, Gene? Right.
I mean, why would you want to go anywhere else?
Right? Exactly.
But so, hey, I just want to make this comment that someone who will go unnamed has, let's say, influenced. I don't know what's the nice way to say it. Me to go to Disney and do races and things, and he's positioned it often as we don't have to get park tickets. We could just hang out at resorts, and I'm like, that'd be fun. There's a whole lot of that stuff that I haven't experienced. But then he's like, hey, you get your park tickets yet? And he, buys, of course he's, got an annual pass, and, I'm just a whatever peasant. And so, but anyway, I'm just so intrigued by this because it sounds like a lot of fun,
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
We took the Skyliner. We played Skyliner karaoke.
Yay!
You have to, right?
Right. So we did that.
That makes me happy.
Then we went back.
Hold on. Let's explain, just in case someone doesn't know what Skyliner. Gene, do you even know what Skyliner karaoke is? I've talked about it enough.
I do, but I'll let you go ahead and explain it.
Okay, so our family does this. We think it's hilarious. Whenever we see the next bucket coming, the other direction, whatever movie it is, somebody has to start singing a song from that movie or attraction or whatever it may be. So if it's Pirates of the Caribbean, then we all sing the Pirates, yo-ho, yo-ho, or whatever it may be. So we love playing it. I'm sure it's completely obnoxious. I wouldn't do it if there were other families in the...
Oh, absolutely. You get
that makes it more fun.
Oh, right.
They probably join in.
Yeah, I'm sure. So yay, that made me happy. I'm glad that you did Skyliner karaoke.
So we did that for a little bit. We went to the Riviera. We got off there and to the gift shop.
And just smelled, because I love the smell in there.
Correct. And they had a Skyliner scavenger hunt that you could pick up there, that you could go to the different resorts and answer questions. Like we picked it up thinking, we could probably just answer these questions just by looking at them. And they was tough. You would actually have to go visit the resorts and find the things on there. It was interesting. We didn't have time to really finish it because you were hitting all the resorts, but definitely something to look at in the future for these kind of trips.
And that's a free, fun activity you could do. So
Correct.
if you don't have park tickets and you don't want to spend a bunch of money, you can grab one of those, activities and off you go. I think that's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
After that, we went back to Saratoga for the afternoon and laid at the pool for a while.
Wait, were you at Saratoga or Old Key West?
That trip we were Saratoga.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Yep. The Old Key West, I think, is Wine and Dine.
Got it.
We went back to Saratoga. We laid around the pool for the afternoon. Had a few more drinks because, Uber's taking us back and forth, and I have till 11 o'clock at night to have to worry about getting home. So it wasn't a big deal. And just laid around the pool for the day and took it easy. Which is, if you know me, I am known to go commando into parks from open to close and hitting everything possible. So this was a complete different type of trip for me. So
That doesn't have anything to do with you not being prepared and having to take a shower at a cabana at a resort.
No, that's a different commando.
Okay. Oh, that's a different commando. Okay.
Yeah.
Just clearing that up for our listeners.
Yes, we've gone commando multiple ways, unfortunately, in Disney parks in the past history here. So we'll go back and listen to the original episode. I think was that one of our first episodes?
It was early on.
It was pretty early.
Well, I think one thing
those are quality episodes, by the way.
Oh yeah, we were really on our game by then. One thing just a tip that I'm sure most people know, but something that I just want to point out. You had to check out of your room probably at 11 that morning, but you still have access to the resort that entire day. So just because you have to check out at 11 doesn't mean you can't use the pool or amenities or anything like that. So you said your flight was like 8 p.m. or something. So you could still, take advantage of everything at your resort for the whole day, even though you already had to check out of your room. You are homeless, but it's not.
We have access to the bathrooms, the pool areas, and things like that. And Bell Services held our bag for us and put our cookies in the refrigerator so they didn't melt. And
oh, that's nice.
Right.
That's nice. Yeah. I mean, at Marriott, I stay enough that I can wait till I can get a late checkout to like 4. I mean, you'd think as much as you go to Disney that they'd give you past 11 or whatever.
Nope, they turn those rooms over too fast.
I'm not saying that Marriott's better than Disney. I'm just saying.
All right, so successful one-day trip, version 1.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this was such a great idea. You thought, well, now it's later in July. It's still crazy hot outside. Let's do this again.
This one came about a little bit differently. This one was my friend was going down for Florida for her summer vacation with her kids, and she was driving down. And from Ohio to Florida is about a 15-hour drive. It's a rough drive to do straight through by yourself. So I volunteered because I could get my Go Wild pass to fly home. I figure I'll drive down with her to keep her company and spend a day down there for the one night and then turn around and fly home the next day. And again, it cost me the tax, $15 in tax on my flight. So it kind of gave us some time. It gives me a day at Disney to do some different things and kind of breaks up her drive a little bit too. So
chivalrous. Right. That's all I gotta say. It's just chivalrous.
So you drove down. This was the July 27th trip, right?
Correct.
So you drove 15 hours down.
Stayed overnight.
And where were you there?
No, I did not stay overnight there. We left Saturday morning there, or Saturday afternoon at like 5, and we drove straight through the night, got in Sunday around 9:30, 10 o'clock, I think, somewhere ballpark there. Just drove straight through, didn't stop. Gas pit stops were only stops on the way down through. Got in. She was at Fort Wilderness, which is, I've never stayed there before. So that was interesting to see. She had a cabin at Fort Wilderness. So it was fun. They rented a golf cart and picked that all up and ordered groceries in for the week or 2 weeks that they were there and just helped get them settled in. That was my birthday weekend. So whenever we got there, we explored Fort Wilderness cabins area. They took me around and showed the different places and kind of went through the golf cart, got a birthday cake before we turned around and went and just laid at the pool for about an hour and a half before I had to go catch my flight home that night.
What's the pool like there?
There's several of them. It depends on where you're staying. There's quiet pools that are over by some of the loops where the cabins are. I didn't go to any of those ones. But the other one has a water. It's a normal pool. They're putting the DVC cabins there now, but it doesn't really have a DVC feel. They don't have like the signature restaurants. They don't have some of the amenities that you would typically expect from a DVC, but you're also getting basically a 1-bedroom style accommodation for not much more than the price of a studio.
Mhm.
So I guess that's a trade-off you're taking with those cabins, and they're very nice.
Yeah, I've heard they're nice. Okay, so second trip, drove down, didn't really sleep.
I slept for about 2.
Where-
We tag team drove. I slept for about 2.5 hours, part of it, while she drove like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then turned around and just flew home that night.
Okay. Wow. And so no parks on that one
Nope.
either.
No, because I was only in Disney for about 3
Therefore-
hours.
Yeah. So this is like Super Commando.
Yes. Yeah.
These
Or
are
maybe,
just short
maybe,
shorts.
maybe right.
The Speedo trip.
Mm. Maybe Semi Commando. I don't know, because you're not there long enough to. I don't
No,
know. Wow.
that one I wasn't there long enough to do anything. Like I said, I helped get them settled in. We get the car unloaded.
Uh-huh.
Interesting with this one is on the way down, her van's battery light came on about 5 hours into the trip, and it's about 10 o'clock at night. We're just getting ready to hit the turnpike through the mountains of West Virginia, and we're wondering, we got about 2.5 hours of driving through that. And if the battery or alternator would go on that, there's limited cell signal, there's limited, probably anybody on a Saturday night, Sunday morning that's going to be able to help to change anything. So we made the decision to pull off at the Charleston, West Virginia airport. She rented a van, left hers at the long-term parking at the airport. We did about a 20-minute pit stop changeover, unloaded her, packed full. They're going for 2 weeks. So their van is just packed full. They have a rooftop carrier just full of stuff. They have golf clubs because they like the golf weather down there. They have golf clubs packed into there. And we did about a 20-minute changeover to a van that doesn't have a roof rack or ability to add a roof rack to it, and repack the van and get back on the road to go down through. So that was
Wow. Little Tetris in the middle of the.
at 10 o'clock at night at the airport. It was interesting.
Wow. That's a curveball.
Right. We weren't quite ready for that one, but it worked out. We had to leave one set of golf clubs. We combined the clubs into a bag. I think we left 2 sets of golf clubs in the van. And then we got everything else able to load in. I don't know that the kids were overly comfortable. I was fine. Front seat, and we had plenty of space for us, but not sure their kids were horribly comfortable being packed in like they were, but we made it.
Squished like sardines.
Correct.
Wow.
So not a whole lot that got done on that trip. It was just a quick in, down, turn around, fly back. But it's like I said, it saved her a lot of driving by herself that wouldn't have been.
But I've never been to Fort Wilderness, so
Right.
at least I got to explore that. I mean, other than going to Hoop-de-Doo. So
And that was one of the ones on my list that I've never stayed at. So I was hoping to mark that off, but they said that didn't count because I didn't spend the night there.
yeah, I'm like, you didn't put your head on a pillow, so no.
So that one didn't count. That not that night it didn't count. So
All right.
the next one's a little bit more fun.
Second
That was the second.
one-day trip. Okay, so that one I'm going to call the shorty shorts. That was Jeff's short shorts.
Microkini.
The Speedo trip.
Speedo trip. Yay. Nothing more exciting than thinking about a man in a Speedo. Okay, so your third trip was August 9th or the 11th. So was it really the 9th or the 11th? Because if I'm doing my math correctly, that's not one night.
It was supposed to be, I was supposed to fly out around 11 o'clock, the same flight we flew down the first trip on Saturday, and turn around and come home Sunday. But we had some storms that came through that weekend, and the Cleveland airport had some flight delay issues. I was worried about getting out. So I ended up changing my flight to Friday night at like 8 o'clock. So it was really late Friday night, and then all day Saturday, and then we were on the road Sunday morning to drive home. So it was one full day there with 2 overnights in the middle.
Okay, and I know this one had some fun stuff attached to it. 'cause I
This
saw
one
it.
was fun, yes.
All right, so you flew in late Friday night. Any flight delays?
No, my flight was on time. We were in good shape there. I took an Uber directly to the Contemporary because they were at the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party for the first night kickoff. And I figured I'd just meet them as they were wrapping up their party. I tried to talk myself into one being let in, but they wouldn't let me. Went up to the gate and said, I'd just like to surprise my friends that are in here. I understand there's only like an hour left of the party. There's any tickets for sale? I said, no, we're sorry. I said, there's nothing we can do. So no, you can just kind of wait over there. So I just waited outside and listened to
Just
the
move
music.
along.
Right. Just sat outside, listened to the music, and
Like, do you not know who I am? I'm Jeff with Disney with the Ducks.
I flashed my badge, and it didn't work.
You have a badge.
I do. I carry a badge.
I missed
Where's
that
yours,
memo.
Gene? You don't have it on your little.
No,
You
Lonnie
don't have
must have
one?
been in charge of giving them out.
We all have one. I thought we all had them.
Gene, not part of the crew.
Not one of the cool kids.
All right, so you met them. You stood outside of Mickey's Not So Scary.
It was like 20, 25 minutes. I wasn't there very long.
You
There's
just
fun people
waved.
watching.
You
Oh,
just waved to everyone inside, like, hope you're having fun. Bring me a piece of candy.
It was fantastic people because it's all the costumes and people coming out at the end of the party night. And
Oh, what was a cool costume you saw?
there's a lot of it reminds you of the Run Disney races for costumes. There's a lot of Brunos.
There always are. How about,
Right.
were there any Mauis?
There was a few Mauis.
Always is. Always
Yep.
is.
Yep.
How about that dude from the I'm stuck because I don't know what it's called. I should because I'm such an expert. But from the thing that goes real slow and the time that, the progress,
Carousel of Progress?
that, right.
I didn't see any
Carousel
Johns.
progress. No, okay.
No Johns. So,
Okay, so you met up with them. Party ends at what time? 1 a.m.?
midnight.
Oh, midnight. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's midnight. They come strolling out. Did they give you candy at least?
Oh yeah, they had buckets of candy. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely.
Good.
Yep.
So how did you, were they still at Fort Wilderness?
Yeah, they were at Fort Wilderness the whole time.
Okay.
So we
how
just
did-
took the boat.
The boat back. All right.
Yep.
Awesome.
And their golf carts, they park their golf cart right beside the boat launch, and they get on the golf cart and take that back to their cabin.
Cool.
So
All right. So that was Friday night. Saturday, you actually had a full day.
we had a full day.
Entire full day at
Correct.
Disney. Okay. So what did you do on Saturday?
Well, Saturday morning we got up. We had kind of like a breakfast buffet of all the food that was left that we just need to get rid of. So we fried up the bacon, the eggs, everything that was sitting there that was just kind of left that we didn't want to have to worry about packing to take home. We used up all that. And she had friends that were staying over at the Wilderness Lodge. So once we got all that done, they were checking out that day. We drove over to the Wilderness Lodge to meet them and kind of hang out with them for a little bit before they left.
Awesome.
We went over, we sat at Geyser Point for a while, had some drinks there. Storm came up, so it was a nice place to be underneath the awning with the storms. Right over there, they also have like the little reunion area. So they have like foosball and ping pong and pool tables and plenty of stuff to do. We watched the Olympics a little bit while we were sitting there having drinks, and got my Blue Wilderness, which is not on the menu, but if you ask them, they can make it for you.
And what is in that beverage?
What? No idea.
No.
It's good. It's sweet.
All right.
It's a nice summer beverage.
Good.
We hung out at the pool there for a while, which is nice. I like their pool. Their pool is nice. Typically, we're not big pool people, just because, again, we're in the parks from open to close, so we don't get to experience
Commando.
it much, right? So we hung out at the pool for a little bit there and enjoyed that as well. And then went back to her cabin, got changed from one set of pool clothes into other sets of pool clothes, and we went over to H2O Glow Nights at Typhoon Lagoon that night.
All right. So I know nothing about H2O Glow Nights, and Gene, I'm sure, knows everything about it and all the details.
Are they at Crescent Lakes? Because if they are, then I do. But they're not, so I don't.
I'd be worried if they were at Crescent Lakes because it's a swimming involved. But so why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because I've never been to a Disney water park. I don't know anything about this event. Tell us all about it.
The closest I've ever been to a Disney water park is the Death March through Blizzard Beach, and that doesn't count, I guess, as going.
You've done that
several times.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah.
I don't really have to talk about it.
We got over there about 5, I think, maybe.
So it's an
about
evening
4.
event.
It's an evening event, and we were able to get a discounted ticket for the afternoon through their annual pass, because I think you get in at 6. The party goes from 7 to 11, or you can get in at 6. The party goes 8 to 11. The park closes at 7. So since we were over there between like 4 and 5, we just bought a ticket for the afternoon and they're not expensive for tickets for the water parks. We set up kind of a base camp there. They have a big wave pool at Typhoon Lagoon. We did some time in the wave pool. They have a really nice lazy river, some water slides, and we kind of just wandered around and they showed me the kind of layout. They do a lot of the water parks. Whenever they go down for their trips like that, their AP has the water parks option, so they can just kind of go in for a little bit in the afternoon and then go back to the parks and stuff in the evening. So it works out good for them.
And have you ever been to Typhoon Lagoon before?
I have not.
Gene,
No.
have you ever been there before?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, I've never been.
I would go though because it's outside. I'm disgusted, absolutely disgusted by indoor water parks, because the one in Dallas that we would go to when kids were little, Great Wolf Lodge, it's inside, it's hot, it's muggy anyway in Texas and Louisiana where I live, and so it's just like it's humid and it's just gross. So there's staph infection everywhere.
Talk about Bruno.
Great Wolf Lodge, we do not express, or what disclaimer do we need here? We are not defaming your cleanliness of your pools.
Maybe they won't be.
We'll let the lawyers take care of the disclaimers.
Okay, so the official party starts, and what's included with the party? So this is it's H2O.
H2O Glow Night. It's an after-hours event. Like I said, the park closed at 7. So they started checking wristbands at 7 to make sure that you have your wristband. You got little glow necklaces as well that kind of light up like little glow stick necklaces. But it's like any other after-hours events. You get pop, you get popcorn, you get Mickey bars, Mickey ice cream sandwiches. You have popcorn. I don't remember the outside bars.
Just what I want when I'm in a bathing suit is ice cream sandwiches and
right.
popcorn and soda, things to just make me feel heavier. And
well, when you get your hands sticky, you just go in the water and wash them all off.
That's true.
So they had activity. They had like hula hoops. They had a lot of just like the fun poolside activity things going on different places. The water slides and everything were open. Wasn't a whole lot of lines. We were able to walk right on water slides pretty much as fast as you can get around. There was hardly any waiting. They had a big beach party with DJs playing and characters out on the beach dancing and having fun, and just a lot of music going, different dance offs, and it was a fun event. It was, like I said, it went to 11 o'clock at night. We were tired by the end of it. The wave pool kind of beat you up a little bit.
What age range would you recommend? Again, since I've never been to the water parks, Gene's never been, so I'm assuming a lot of people haven't been. So, what age would you say would be good for an event like that?
We had obviously 2 adults and then kids ranging from 11 to 15, and it was perfect for our group. The boys kind of went off and did their own thing as they wanted. We met up occasionally. The 11-year-old kind of stayed mostly with us as we were wandering around doing things, but we did some things together and we did some things separately. And it's just, that was a perfect age group for doing what we did there.
Got it. Maybe not for, younger elementary kids.
They would get stuff out of it. You just have to watch it. It's darker as far as just like, it's like Disney World, Magic Kingdom at dark. You don't realize how dark it kind of gets some places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was kind of like that for some of it, but I would have no problem with younger kids either. I think the older ones, for me, especially in the water, I felt more comfortable knowing that they were older and used to it.
Awesome. So did you get to meet any characters when you were there?
We didn't do any meet and greets. I don't know if they had meet and greets or not. They had Goofy and Chip and Dale were down dancing during the beach party. You can kind of get some pictures with them, just casual. It's just like the dance parties they do in Magic Kingdom at different places during stuff where they don't really sign pictures or anything, but they were there just having fun.
What would you say was the highlight of the night?
The beach party was fun. Yeah, they just had the DJ playing with the characters down there dancing and a lot of music, and we had a lot of fun with that part.
Good. So was there any real food to purchase, or were you just sustaining yourself on Mickey bars and popcorn?
I was sustaining myself on Mickey bars and popcorn. They did have some of their restaurants were open still. They had one had a mojito flight that you could have got. They have donuts with dipping sauces that they said was really good, but
wow,
we never got those. But I've heard they're delicious. So they had several of their restaurants were open for food options while you're there too.
Yeah, because that's always one of my gripes about the parties and the after hours when you go to the parks is so few food options. There's a lot of sweet, it seems like, but
Right.
not a lot of something with substance. So if you're hungry and you need a little protein or something with a little substance, it's kind of hard to
Right.
find. So good to hear.
We ate
that-
about 6:45, so we
you're-
grabbed dinner
you're-
right before.
You're saying they should have some kind of a disclaimer that says eat before you come. Is that what you think, Jody?
I think on the regular parties, they should. I think like, the Halloween and, the Very Merry and even the extended hours, the after hours, those type of, I do. Or they should be really clear on how few restaurants are open because
Right.
I think you find yourself in a pickle if you're
Are you craving a salad when you're there? Is that it?
I'm not craving salad when I'm there. Stop it.
Don't tell the truth. Tell the truth.
I just said protein. I was very much not saying a salad. Something with substance. So.
Right. But yes, there were food options available for people who needed something other, but we just didn't want to waste time at the party.
And then how did transportation work? Did you guys take the bus there or did
we
you
had a
drive?
van. We drove.
Okay.
We drove.
But the buses were running, taking people back to their resorts pretty frequently.
I would assume so. We saw buses, but the van's nice for things like that. So we just loaded up into the van and took off.
Awesome. All right. Well, that sounds like an incredible night. So then you went back to Fort Wilderness, right?
Yep. Did Fort Wilderness, so I could mark off my Fort Wilderness officially.
Yeah, so you were there, yes.
Right. Also, with the water parks, they started. Was it first of the year that they're starting? That your day of check-in, you have free access to the water parks for that day. So
Yes.
that'll be something to definitely take a look at whenever we go back next year.
One of our DVC friend podcast, they like to call it soggy in the lobby because it's the day that you check in, but most of the time your check-in time, especially with DVC rooms, isn't until 4 p.m. So if you go to the
4 p.m.
water parks and you're sitting there and you're wet and you've got nowhere to go, so they're calling it soggy in the lobby, which I think is hilarious. So, but it is your check-in day starting in 2025. You can go to either one of the water parks or whichever one happens to be open at the time is included in your package booking.
Right. So
That's
I can
awesome.
see some split stays coming up in my future. So that way my check-in day gives me extra water park days.
It's funny. I just renewed my AP the other day and they asked if I wanted the water park, add-on. And part of me was thinking like, why would I want that? Because every check-in it's included.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try it one day.
Right. It's worth it for sure.
So I'm intrigued by that. It's just one more thing. I don't ever have time to do what I want to do when I'm at Disney World anyway. But I was just thinking, the day, if it's included, the day you check in and you want to run to a water park and it's January for marathon. I mean, I know it's been unseasonably hot in January. I've been there in February when it's been so hot. And so I just did a quick, I used the Google machine to see they're open year round. And there've been record freezing weather when I've been in there in January.
Well, those days they don't open the park. The water, if it's below a certain temperature.
No. I understand. I mean, they they're open year round, but they may close temporarily due to seasonal disturbances, weather or capacity. But in general, weather permitting, they're going to be open. So I think that's cool. I mean, that's,
Right.
That's good. That's a good thing.
I think Disney needed to add some perk back to staying on property.
Mhm.
And I'm glad that they added that. I mean, I think it's a
Something
nice,
different.
yeah. And take people out of the parks and give them somewhere else to go. So I think it's a great idea. I'm glad about it. And now that you just gave it such a glowing review, I mean, get it? Glowing, H2O.
Right.
glowing.
If you a glowing review.
So yeah, I tried there. That was my joke for the night. Can that count as my joke?
No.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
All right. So, and then Sunday, did you do anything or did you have an early flight or late flight?
Sunday morning we packed up and we were driving home.
Oh, you were driving back. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yep,
So
that was
more trying to put everything in the car. Whew.
right. Plus souvenirs now.
Yeah.
In addition to everything that we came down with, we have additional stuff coming back. So, and extra food, some of the non-perishable stuff that we got. But we got it all crammed in there. We drove up through. Actually, on our way through, we stopped in Georgia and we bought a battery, just in case that when we got there, the van wouldn't start or we'd run into an issue on the way home on the road. So we picked up a battery just to have with us. When I flew down, I packed a socket set, like a small socket set, and wrench that I would need to change the battery on the side of the road if need be. So just so you're aware, TSA will allow you to bring small tools up to 7 inches long. I checked that ahead of time. So
Good to know.
right, my ratchet was appropriate sized. So I was able to take that on the flight with me. And then we made it to the airport in Charleston. We did it again, another pit stop, 20-minute pit stop to unload everything, load up the other van, got it checked out, and headed home.
Battery was good. Everything was good.
Yep, no problems. The light never came back on the whole way home. So it was
Crazy.
right.
Crazy.
I thought you were going to say that you were saying TSA will let you. I thought you were going to say let you take a car battery on the plane.
No.
I didn't think that was going to work, but
No.
I'm glad that's not where you went.
No, we bought the battery on the way home just to have with us, just in case.
Yeah.
That was really smart.
So
Well,
least-
those sound like fun 3 little trips. I mean,
Heck yeah.
the fact that you have that flight program is so awesome that you could just say, "Hey, I feel like we're gonna." I mean, I want to go to Wine Bar George for dinner tonight. Okay, let's get on a plane and go. I mean, that's kind of awesome.
and when we bought the
Right.
tickets originally, they had a really early flight out on Saturdays at like 6 o'clock, and then they had like a 10:30 flight home. So I was kind of hoping they kept that through because I could just be in there by 8:30 in the morning and then fly home that night and just have a day. But they've kind of altered their schedule, so that one's really not there. So you're going to have to stay over. But it worked out this trip that I had a place to stay with her whenever we went down, and then we picked up the DVC room the first time. So
That's awesome.
That's good.
That's great. I love it. Those are fun 3 little trips.
right.
Very unique. Again, I think maybe we talked about doing a show, or maybe we did a show on what if you only had 24 hours in Disney. Well, now here's the real live version.
With no park tickets.
Once, not twice, but 3 times.
Right.
Jeff said, "Hold my."
Shorty shorts.
I was going to say LaCroix or something like that, but yeah, that works better.
Thank goodness
Um,
John's not here for that one.
I know, right? Hey, anything else you want to add? Anything else? Anything you do? If you could do, the next time you do this, because you'll do it again. What's something you missed, or something maybe you do different or do better? Anything like that?
It completely changed up my thinking of how I do Disney. Like I said, we're usually very park focused.
Mm-hmm.
This was just completely different. It forced me to do something I wasn't doing before.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't change anything. I like the new experiences. I like doing things I haven't done. I would definitely do this again. Just very similarly, just enjoy the resorts and take time to slow down a little bit there.
It seems like it's pretty perfect. I'm glad you're able to do that, Jeff. That's pretty great.
Any
Well, hey,
in the future to do any more?
Absolutely. Yeah. And nothing's planned, obviously. These are like impulse trips, but I would definitely do it again.
I mean, you
How
never
long-
know. Like, oh, there's a couple of weekends that we don't have anything going on, that maybe if they have this availability. So I guess I have a question. Do you have to book both ways, I mean, is it will they only allow you to look at the options if you can get there and get back?
No.
Okay.
So it's potentially you could get stuck.
Oh.
And that happened to her this summer. One Friday afternoon, like 2 o'clock, she saw a flight had opened up, and it was a flight at like 11 o'clock to go out to Vegas. So she booked her flight and packed up the kids and flew out Friday night to Vegas. They had a friend that lives out there, and they drove to the next morning. They rented a car, drove up to the one national park that's just outside of, I can't think of which one it is now.
Hoover?
No.
Grand
It might be
Canyon,
Bryce. It might be Bryce Canyon.
Bryce or Zion?
Zion. Yep, they went to Zion, and they did Zion for the day. Drove back to Vegas, but they couldn't get their flight home. The Go Wild was not available to come home, so they ended up actually having to book a regular flight to Philadelphia with a layover and back. So they kind of got stuck a little bit on that one. They opened up. We were watching the flights, and they opened up occasionally, but by the time she would get in to book it, they were closed again.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to just keep checking. So you technically could get stuck. They do let you book them ahead depending on availability some, but they charge like $25 instead of $15. So it's still not bad. But
Yeah, right.
but I figured it passes already at some cost.
Yeah.
So that's money spent. It's gone. I don't worry about it. And if I can get a flight for $25, it's the same as me buying a flight for 15. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
How long
awesome.
is that? How long are you able to use that? How long is that good for?
It's good for a year. It goes from May 1st
That's what
to
I thought
April
you
30th.
said. Yeah. That's great, man. So
And
you still got a lot of time you can use
and it's
that.
paid for itself.
Yeah.
I've used it
Sure.
enough in our few trips that this is paid for itself already.
Yeah. That's really cool.
That is cool. I love it. Well, those were fun 3 little 1-day trips, or 1.5, I guess one was, but
Yeah, for sure.
lots of fun.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing.
Well, and yeah, thanks for sharing, Jeff. And I think that brings us to our favorite and your part of the program, Quacking Up with the Ducks. You got anything to share with us today, Jeff?
So we're doing some remodeling at my friend's house right now.
Mhm.
And we had this handyman that's coming in to do it. And we gave him a list of different things that we need to do. But he only did items 1, 3, 5, and 7 on the list. And we asked him why he was skipping the other ones. He said, I only do odd jobs.
Right. Nice. Jody.
Well, it's back to school time for a lot of people, and I was out walking with some of my neighbors, and I was asking my neighbor. I was like, "Hey, how did school go for your son?" Because it was his first time going to school full day, right? And she said to him, "What did you learn today?" And he said, "Well, apparently not enough because I have to go back tomorrow."
Nice.
Funny kid.
Wow. You guys know I fly a lot for work. I mean, I see a lot of crazy stuff in the airport. And yesterday, I don't usually check a bag. I'm usually carrying a bag on, so I don't usually stop at baggage. And so as I'm walking, but you have to go buy it, right, to get out. So it's a small airport where I live. And so as I'm, coming down the escalator and I'm passing, I see this guy and he just absolutely fainted and fell into the carousel. It was crazy. It's fine though. He came around.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for coming along this journey with us, everybody that's listening. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing your stuff, sharing your, it's great to have a quickie with Jeff. And thank you, Jody, for taking the lead on asking the questions. You do really do a good job. That journalism degree, it shows up, we see it for sure.
Got to dust it off every once in a while.
Yeah, for sure. You got to, right? To stretch those journalistic muscles. Hey, listeners, again, I just want to remind you, we covet your reviews. So 5-star reviews, 5, only 5. That's all we need. We just need the 5 stars. Any complaints, obviously, they go to Lonnie. And again, we just want to thank you so much for just your support and for your interaction on Facebook and for just being here. Anything else, guys?
I'm good for here.
All right, we'll see you later. And with that, we'll let the lawyers tell us. This episode of Disney with the Ducks is purely for entertainment purposes, and any resemblance to persons, places, or enchanted broomsticks, living, dead, or otherwise, is purely coincidental. Jeff's commando-style park-free adventure of resort hopping, poolside lounging, and people watching may sound exhilarating, but results may vary. We do not recommend attempting to replicate Jeff's experience without proper preparation, snacks, and an affinity for obscure Disney resort knowledge. Jody and Jean joined Jeff on this escapade because, well, John, Lonnie, and Kevin had much better things to do with their time. Please consult your vacation planner before making any sudden decisions to skip the parks entirely.
Thanks, awesome. Everybody.
Take care, everybody. See you later.
Peace out, friends. I don't like it. Don't like it. I need things to be wrapped up pretty in a bow.